This fraud ends now. You have no idea who I am.
It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Midtown Manhattan, the kind where the streets buzzed with the hurried footsteps of office workers and the distant hum of yellow cabs. Inside the grand lobby of Central Trust Bank on Fifth Avenue, the air was thick with the scent of polished marble and fresh coffee from the corner kiosk. At precisely 2:45 p.m., a man in his mid-40s, dressed in worn khakis and a simple navy sweater, approached the teller counter with a check in hand. His name was James Thompson, but no one there knew that yet or what it truly meant. The branch manager, Richard Harrington, a sharply dressed man in his 50s with a silver tie clip and a perpetual air of authority, spotted him immediately. Harrington had managed this branch for over a decade, priding himself on his keen eye for trouble. To him, James looked out of place, too casual, too unassuming for the multi-million-dollar check he presented. "This has to be a joke," Harrington muttered under his breath, his face twisting into a smirk as he snatched the document from the teller's hands. Without a word of verification, Harrington flicked open his engraved gold Litera gift from his college fraternity days and held the flame to the corner of the check. The $3.5 million business dividend ignited in a burst of orange, curling into black ash right there on the spotless floor. He let it burn slowly, ensuring every eye in the lobby turned to the spectacle. "See this, folks?" Harrington announced loudly, his voice echoing off the high ceilings. "This is what happens to fraud in my bank. We don't tolerate it, not from anyone who looks like they crawled out of a thrift store." James stood there, unflinching, as the ashes fluttered to his scuffed loafers. The crowd, business executives in tailored suits, elderly patrons clutching deposit slips, and a few young professionals on their lunch breaks began to murmur. A woman in a designer pantsuit pulled out her phone and started recording, whispering excitedly to her companion. "This is going viral," she said, her live stream already pulling in dozens of viewers. Comments flooded in. "Manager's a hero. Burn that fake trash." The security guard hovered nearby, radio crackling, ready to escort the fraudster out. But James didn't move. His dark eyes remained steady, almost amused, as Harrington ground his polished Oxford shoe into the remnants, twisting with deliberate malice. "Problem solved," Harrington declared, turning to the growing audience. "This guy's probably got a whole scheme going: stolen IDs, fake accounts. Watch and learn how we handle his type." The word type hung in the air like a veiled slur, drawing nods from some onlookers and uneasy glances from others. An older gentleman in a tweed jacket clapped softly. "About time someone took a stand," he said, loud enough for all to hear. As the minutes ticked by 2:47, now the humiliation built. Harrington snatched James's wallet when he reached for his ID, waving it like a trophy. "Stolen cards too? Classic." The live stream hit 200 viewers, hashtags like Bank Hero and Fraud Busted trending locally. James's phone buzzed in his pocket, urgent calls from his office, but he ignored it, checking his sleek Rolex instead. 3 minutes until his board meeting. The tension was palpable. Whispers turned to open commentary. "He doesn't even look sorry," someone muttered. "Probably thinks he can talk his way out." Sarah Jenkins, the assistant manager, shifted nervously behind the counter. A no-nonsense woman in her 40s, she had always admired Harrington's decisiveness, but something felt off. James's posture was too composed, his demeanor too refined for a common scammer. "Richard, maybe we should check the system first," she suggested quietly. Harrington waved her off. "Nonsense. I know a con when I see one." He kicked at the ash pile again, scattering it further, as more phones came out to capture the drama. The lobby, usually a hub of quiet transactions, had frozen. Customers abandoned their lines, drawn to the unfolding scene like moths to a flame. A burly man in a construction vest nodded approvingly. Should have tossed him out sooner. But James spoke for the first time, his voice deep and measured. "Mr. Harrington, I'd appreciate my wallet back. The authorities might want to know how you acquired it." Harrington laughed, pocketing it with flair. "Oh, now he's threatening me? Cute. Your accomplices can wait." By 2:52 p.m., the live stream had ballooned to 500 viewers. Comments grew heated. "This is racism, plain and simple." "No, it's just good security." The debate sparked online arguments, with viewers divided, some cheering Harrington's tough stance, others decrying the obvious prejudice. James glanced at a first-class ticket to London, peeking from his jacket his flight tomorrow for a major deal. Unnoticed by the crowd, it hinted at a life far beyond their assumptions. Harrington, basking in the attention, straightened his tie. This is why we have protocols, people. To protect real Americans from cheats like this. Sarah fidgeted more, her instincts screaming. The acrid smell of burned paper lingered, a stark reminder of the irreversible act. Security guards flanked James, guiding him to a waiting area. "Sit tight until the cops get here," one barked. James complied, but his expression shifted subtly, a flicker of irony, as if he held a secret that could upend everything. At 2:55 p.m., Harrington addressed the crowd like a ringmaster. "Vigilance, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we keep our communities safe." Murmurs of agreement rippled through, but not unanimous. A young intern in the back whispered to her friend, "This feels wrong. What if he's legit?" The kitchen tin mounted as James's phone buzzed again, board members wondering where he was. He allowed himself a small smile, checking his watch. 2 minutes left. Sarah approached Harrington again. "Richard, his watch looks expensive. And those shoes, they're not cheap." Harrington dismissed her. "Stolen, probably. Take notes, Sarah." This is real-world fraud prevention. The live stream hit 1,000 viewers, comments flying. "Epic takedown. This manager's going down if he's wrong." The division deepened, sparking ethical debates about judgment and bias. Then, at 2:58 p.m., James rose slightly. "Mr. Harrington, perhaps we should talk." Harrington scoffed. "Talk? The time for talk ended when you walked in with that forgery." James reached into his pocket slowly, guards tensing. He pulled out a crisp business card and placed it on the counter beside the ashes. The lead guard read it aloud, his voice faltering. "James Thompson, Chairman and CEO, Thompson Investments." The lobby fell silent. The live stream woman zoomed in, her hands shaking. "Wait, what? He owns the place?" Viewer count surged to 1,500. Harrington laughed nervously. "Fake card. Anyone can print those." But James produced his tablet, logging into the bank's executive portal with ease. The screen displayed, "James Thompson, majority shareholder, 68% ownership. Chairman since 2017. Gasps echoed. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. "Richard, look, it's real." Harrington's face drained of color. "This can't be." James turned the screen to the crowd. "That check you burned? My quarterly dividend $3,500,000 from this very bank." The revelation hit like a thunderclap. The ashes on the floor mocked Harrington's hubris. Live stream exploded to 2,500. Plot twist of the year. Managers fired. The power shift was electric. Harrington stammered, sweat beading. James accessed employee records. Richard Harrington, branch manager. Salary, $135,000. Employed by me for 7 years. The crowd that had cheered now backed away, horrified. The older gentleman in tweed slipped toward the exit. Teenagers filming whispered, "We just saw a career end." James's voice cut through. "This wasn't about the money. It was about your assumptions based on my clothes, my skin." The statement ignited more online debate. Was it pure racism or overzealous security? Viewers argued fiercely in comments, prolonging engagement. Harrington begged, "If I'd known who you were." James interrupted, "That's the issue. Respect shouldn't depend on status." He outlined options. 1 public apology, demotion to assistant, 35% pay cut, 250 hours community service at urban financial centers, $60,000 reimbursement, and probation. 2 firing, pension loss, criminal charges for destroying a financial instrument, up to 15 years under federal law. The tension peaked as James's finger hovered over termination papers. Harrington chose option 1, turning to the cameras. "I apologize to Mr. Thompson for my discriminatory actions. I judged based on appearance and race. It was wrong." His voice broke, humiliating under 4,000 watchful eyes. Comments: "Deserved. Too lenient." James then reformed policies on the spot. Equity first initiative treat, all with dignity. Bias monitoring via recordings, reviewed by civil rights groups. Quarterly anti-bias training. Anonymous feedback lines to my office. Community boards for input. Sarah noted everything. The lobby transforming from chaos to reform in minutes. He preserved the ashes in a display, The price of prejudice. Harrington returned James's wallet, the act symbolizing surrender. James added, "Your service starts Saturday at the Harlem Financial Empowerment Hub. Work with families like mine, learn their stories." 6 months later, the changes rippled. Harrington, now assistant manager, volunteered extra hours at the hub, teaching budgeting to immigrant families. "Mrs. Ramirez, let's adjust your plan," he said one morning, empathy replacing arrogance. The viral video hit 12 million views, sparking unburnable dignity movement against bias. Central Trust stock rose 15%, customer satisfaction soared 28% among minorities. Thompson Investments led industry reforms, AI bias detectors, inclusive hiring. Universities taught the case as a study in accountability. Harrington met James monthly. "I've changed," he admitted. "Success means lifting others." James replied, "That's the real dividend." The incident proved assumptions destroy, but dignity rebuilds. James's composure turned injustice into progress, creating jobs via his London expansion 150 in low-income areas. In the end, what began as ashes ended in empowerment. Prejudice was exposed, punished, and prevented. Justice wasn't revenge, it was transformation. What do you think about the themes of injustice and violence in everyday life, as shown here? Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you believe such acts deserve harsher punishment? Or is redemption possible through education? Take a stand and let us know your views. Your thoughts could spark important discussions.